Cars Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Team Associated B6.4 Bag 7, so let's get started. Alright, so for Bag 7, Step 1, we're going to need our rear hubs, as well as our rear hub inserts. So let's go ahead and get these off the parts tree, and we're going to need to use the +3 inserts. So we're going to need these two pieces here. All right, so when you cut the rear hub inserts, do not cut the tabs that are on this side over here. Those tabs are an indication of how you installed it, so take note of that. Sometimes there's some flashing around the holes, so you want to make sure you clean that up just in case it adds a little bit of binding, and sometimes it doesn't make the suspension as smooth. So take note of the rear hubs. They are directional. This one has an R on it, and this one has an L. And that denotes which side they are going to install on. So now what we're going to need are our rear hub link mounts. We're also going to need our ball stud washers. We're going to need 3 of these blue washers per side, along with our ball studs, and 2 M3x12 butt head cap screws per side. So I'm going to show you how to do the right side, and the left side is just going to be the same thing, just a mirror of it. So there's a inside and outside portion of the rear hub. The inside portion is the one that has the larger hole for the larger bearing, and the outside one is the one with the smaller hole. So make sure you know your orientation. This is going to be on the outside, this is on the inside of the car. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install some blue Loctite on the screws. And go ahead and install them through the rear hub, like so. Next, we're going to install the blue washers, one on each one. And then we're going to install the rear hub link mount. And we're going to install it with the bump facing the inside of the car. So the bump on the inside. And you don't want to tighten down too hard because you're just going to compress the plastic. So just snug it up, and the blue Loctite is there, so it'll hold it in place. Next, we can go ahead and install the ball stud. So you can go ahead and install the blue washer on there, and then put a little bit of blue Loctite on the ball stud because this rear hub link mount is aluminum. There you go. So now we can install our rear hub insert. So the kit setup is the +3. So that means the hole in the hub insert is going to be on the bottom. And a way to tell that is with the tab. So the tab will be facing the bottom, just like so. So all you have to do is insert it and push it in and it'll be flush. So that's the right side done. I'm gonna go ahead and do the left side. So the rear hubs are assembled. So now we can go ahead and install our bearings. So we're gonna need the two 10 by 15 by 4 bearings and two 5 by 12 by 4 bearings. So the way I like to do it is I like to install the bearings with the blue seals facing outward or visible. So you can go ahead and install them on both sides. So now we can get our axles ready. So we're going to need the CVA bone, the axle itself, along with the CVA coupler, and we're going to need the CVA pin. And I think the CVA pin and the wheel hex pin are the same size. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some black grease to the CVA coupler. Just give it a nice thin coating of grease. And what you're going to do is you're going to line up the hole that's in the CVA coupler. You can see the hole right there, with the slot in the CVA bone, just like that. So you can see the hole right there. So next what we're going to do is we're going to line up the hole in the axle with the hole in the CVA coupler and install the CVA pin. And it'll sit just like that. Apply some tension to it, because if you don't, the pin will just fall out. And the way the pin gets held into place is once you stick it in the bearings, the pin is captured. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. So now that the axles are installed, we can go ahead and install our wheel hexes. So what we're going to do is get one of our wheel hex pins and go ahead and insert it in through the axle and make sure that it's kind of even on both sides. Next, go ahead and grab your wheel hex and take note of the slot where the pin is going to install. So you can go ahead and slide it on just like so. And what I like to do is I like to actually pull on the axle and push on the wheel hex, so that way it's sitting as flush as it can. And then we're going to go ahead and install our M 1.6 by 5 socket head cap screw. And you don't want to over tighten this. So basically screw it on, and once you start feeling pressure, just give it maybe half a turn or so. Make sure it's not too tight, and there we go. And everything moves nice and free. That's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and do the other side. So now the rear hub assemblies and axles are done, and we can install them onto the chassis. So in order to do that, we're going to need our rear hub hinge pins, our M3 lock nuts, along with the rear hub spacers. We're going to need 2 for each side. They're on this parts tree, so we need 2 for each side. So this is our right side that I'm going to install, making sure I'm using my right assembly, which I am. We're going to install the rear hinge pin from the front of the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and install the hinge pin first, along with one of the rear hub spacers, and it looks like the kit setup is going to be in the middle. So next we can install our rear hub, and then our next rear hub spacer, and there we go. Okay, to me it fits a little tight, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand those spacers just a little bit, so that way it rotates nice and free. And take note, when you do sand it, there is a smooth side and there's a side that has some flashing, so I'm going to go ahead and sand the side that has the flashing, because that might be what's causing it to bind. Alright, so you can see that it's moving under its own weight, and that's exactly what I want. So that side's good. There's a little bit of play. So now we can install the M3 lock nut on the rear. And you don't want to over tighten this lock nut. It does have a shoulder that it shoulders out on and stops. So once you feel it stop, you're good. You don't need to tighten it down anymore. There you go. And it is in the nylock. So I just backed it off a little bit because I think it was compressing the arm and preventing this from rotating freely. So there we go. Let's go ahead and do the other side. And I'm just going to go ahead and sand this side as well, just to get the flashing off, because that'll probably make it smoother. It moves under its own weight. That's what we want. So go ahead and tighten this side down. Again, you don't need to tighten this down very hard. Once you feel it shouldered up, it's good. And if you feel like you've over tightened it, you'll notice that the hub, like mine, won't rotate. So all you got to do is back it off a few turns until it rotates freely under its own weight. And just make sure that the nylock is engaged in the nut, and you're good. All right. So that's it for bag 7. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. I'll do my best to help you out if I can. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be bag 8, which is going to be the turnbuckles. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.